right, it's Monday, which means it's time for our weekly box office report brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. Coming in at number one for the second week in a row is the Matt Damon film The Martian. The film took in an additional $37 million to bring its two-week total up to $108.7 million domestically, roughly the same as its production costs, $227 million worldwide, and only dropped 32% from its opening weekend. Coming in second spot for the second week in a row is the animated film Hotel Transylvania 2, making $20.3 million. In the number three position is the Peter Pan film Pan, making just $15.5 million on its opening weekend, well below its reported $150 million production budget. In fourth place is the Robert De Niro and Hathaway comedy The Intern, making an additional $8.8 million, crossing the $100 million worldwide mark. And rounding out the top five is Sicario, making $7.5 million. John, what stands out to you in this week's box office report?
Two things really stand out to me. First of all, we'll go with the positive stuff, which is The Martian. Martian only, look, we say in here, hey, if a movie can drop like 45%, that's a great number. You don't want to see the 55 to 60% range. 32% drop. That is great word of mouth. That is great marketing. That is just the sign of a great movie. And The Martian is completely a great movie. If you haven't seen The Martian yet, I don't think any of us at this table can recommend it highly enough. Just go out and see The Martian. But I mean, the story here is the unmitigated, no way around this, you can't play with words, flop. That is Pan. $150 million film that lands $15 million. Now, about a week and a half ago, the numbers started to look grim. They knew this movie wasn't going to open strong. They were projecting it to hit around the mid-20s, and it came in even lower than that. Look, Hugh Jackman is fantastic. Peter Pan is a beloved franchise. Visually, the film looked really interesting. Something completely turned audiences off of wanting to go see this thing. Like there was a bunch of small things that would turn a couple of people off, but something turned the larger movie-going audience in mass off. I can't really put my finger on what that was, but I mean, the $15 million, this is the type of result that could sink smaller production companies. They would just sink them anyway. Mark, what stands out to you about the box
What stands out to me is the fact that almost double the amount of people that saw Pan decided to see Fantastic Four that opening weekend. And we talked about how bad that movie was. So I can't imagine what Pan is like. I didn't get a chance to see Pan. It didn't really appeal to me, and it appears like nobody else really wanted to see it either, because I think that maybe they didn't know what audience it was for. Was it for kids or was it for adults trying to recapture some youth? Whereas something like The Martian, where it has a huge opening weekend, and I think that expanded to more audiences, that people realize this is a good film to take your family to. This is a theater experience that you should want to have. And then I looked at The Walk, because The Walk is a movie that was expanding from IMAX into more theaters, and it barely cracked the top 10. And I really enjoyed The Walk, and I think that's another movie that you want to go see in the theater if you see it at all. So those are the things that stood out to me. But yeah, Pan, it's such a disappointment. I didn't want to see the movie, and I feel bad for it.
Yeah, I think they should change the name to Panned. Then it would be a little more truthful. Everyone I've talked to said they hated it, and then no one went to go see it. So, I mean, I think it was a bad marketing decision for them to push the release of Pan. Remember, it was going to come out like 7 months ago.
Yeah.
And they had all these trailers out, and I was ready to see it then. And then they kept releasing more trailers, and it got pushed. And I think it was like one of those things where everyone was like, what happened to that movie? Oh, it's out now, mixed with it's not that, critically acclaimed of a film. So that equals bad word of mouth, and critics giving it the thumbs down is like the kiss of death in certain, no one's like. Plus, you have a lot of other amazing films playing. You have Sicario, you have The Walk, you have Black Mass, you have Martian, you have just Transylvania. You have all these other decisions to make. And if someone's like, that movie's not that good, or if it's just not hitting on any of anybody's, it's just no one wants to go see it, obviously.
Well, I don't want to crush a movie either for its marketing campaign being a little skewed, because I like when movies appeal to more audiences than just one demographic. But Pan coming out, and if you want to take your kids to that, or you go with a safer bet, clearly that's what parents did, and they took them to see Hotel Transylvania 2, which again beat Pan. That is shocking to me.
Let me throw it to both of you guys. Here's a question I have. Is this result of Pan, is this a situation where there was something in here that really turned audiences off? Or was it there was just a lack of anything to turn audiences on and make them want to go?
I think I'm on a different side than a lot of people because I never cared that much about Peter Pan. Like, yeah, it's cool. He goes to Neverland. I don't like the movie Hook that much. I was disappointed when I saw that as a little kid. I don't care about Peter Pan. Everybody else was acting like, oh yeah, Peter Pan is back. This is going to be a huge movie. I just never really saw what the appeal was.
You know what? I'm with you on that. Like, I wasn't a big like freak out Peter Pan. When I was a kid, it was played by a girl on television, so that's the only thing that was
Mary
like,
Martin, baby.
Yeah, I was always like, it was played by a woman on TV. But yeah, I was never like, when are they going to do the ultimate Pan movie? I never felt like, well, finally it's here. But in the same breath, I thought those trailers for it were really interesting, and I was, especially like a year ago when they started dropping them, I was like, this could be a really fun film. I just think for myself, it was like, oh, it's finally out. It felt like anticlimactic because I was told it was going to come out at one point, and then literally, I think it was a month before it was supposed to come out, they pulled it.
Yeah, well, that's why Batman versus Superman is going to fail.
I know, right?
I'm kidding.
I know that happens, but there's something like that's already built in. It's a built-in worldwide audience.
Yeah.
Something like Pan, it was like it's already like had this weird, unique take on it. Everything looked different and strange, so it was like it was really anchoring itself on being a different and unique approach to Pan. I just I'm gonna see it eventually. So.